Welcome everybody. Today's video finds us over here at Prasat Muang Tam. We're a little bit south and a little bit west of Buriram, and what's right behind me is a man-made lake that's about 1,080 meters by 580 meters, and it's a depth of like 3 to 4 meters deep, the water. This is a man-made water storage that was used by the community here for household consumption as well as irrigating their crops. And anyway, this is right next to the ruin we're going to look at. So let's go over here and let's take a look at the baray, and then we'll look at the temple. So you can see how big it is. So they came in here by hand and they dug this out. You know, it was a natural low point, but they expanded on it and they dug out any trees and everything, and it made it usable for their water. And there's an entrance, I believe it's over on that way, that's called the Prakhon Chai, which is like the Khmer gate. And it's what fills this. And then there's two places like on the north and the south that have laterite steps that would go down into the baray. It is absolutely massive. And then there's a little parking with vendors over here, and then what we're going to see is this ruin over here. This is Prasat Muang Tam, which means the lower city. So let's go in here and I'll show you around. Okay, so getting in here, this is the ticket window. So you can see the prices right there. So there's the dual pricing. So you have 150 baht if you want to go see this and the Phnom Rung, and then it's 30 baht for the Thais. Or if you just want to see this one, it's 100 baht for other nationalities and 20 baht for Thais. So I got my ticket, and I bought a ticket for both. Now I made a video earlier from Phnom Rung. That's the volcanic mountain, and there's the temple up on the top that's a little bit older than this. That one dates back to the 10th century. Well, this temple here was built in the 11th century. So I'm going to pin a comment to the other temple also, so you can see this and that. It's a great way to combine a day, to come over here and do both. So they have over here by the entrance is this pediment. This is a replica, and it's Indra right there. And this is in the 11th century, the Baphuon style, I think is what you call it. And it's got the Naga and everything else. Now this temple was abandoned, and then it was later, like about 50 to 60 years ago, the people from this area came back over here and restored it, and they made it to where people could come over and see it again. So here's another replica. This one here has Indra sitting on Gala, and it's the same 11th century style. Looks like they've been having a little festival or something going on here. So you can see around the temple itself are these nice shade trees, which is pretty good because it is really, really hot here right now. And I think this is a Shiva temple that has quite a bit of stuff for Vishnu. Now, it was originally built as a Hindu temple, like most of these. Some of them were converted to Buddhism later. Some were just abandoned. I don't know if this was ever converted into Buddhism. So you can see the outer wall, and we'll go up in here. This one's a really nice temple. Right over by the temple here, this is a modern Buddhist temple over there. You see the gate with the giants and stuff. It's on the outside over here. So this is the entrance. This is part of the historical park. Now the Phnom Rung is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's definitely the better one of the two, but this one is well worth your time to come over and see also. So you can see here they got all these laterite stones, and they got the palms and everything for the shade. And that wind is kind of picked up, so hopefully you don't get any wind noise on the microphone. I got the wind sock on it. So we can see here, so we got all the styling. They built the laterite stone base, and then they have the bottom of the temple has the laterite stones, and then they built the sandstone on top of it. And I think they quarried most of the sandstone from here over in Sakau. And then there's also another sandstone quarry about 7 kilometers away with an old ancient oven. I've never been to it. Maybe I'll try to get over there one of these days. So the outer wall is a rectangle. It's 120 meters by 127 meters. And it's almost 3 meters high. It's 2.7 meters. So we can see the lintel and then the pediment up there with all the stone carving. Yeah, this is really cool. I just absolutely love seeing stuff like this. So they had those little stones up on top of the wall too. That would have been before the Bayon. This predates the Bayon era. So they even have some carving in the sandstone right there. And then you come in here. So this is the Gopura, the entrance. And we got a lintel up there. Looks like Vishnu. That looks like the one over by the entrance gate that I took a picture of. And then you can see the stone carvings. And we'll go in here. Is this a lotus? Yeah, this is a lotus right here that they carved in. So that's a good symbol. It's supposed to mean like heaven and purity. And then we have these little colonnettes, the little things in the windows. So it's kind of interesting. They have regular windows on both sides here. And then they would have had an image in here as part of the Gopura. And this would have been covered originally. You can see the size of the blocks. They have a mix of sandstone and laterite here in the bottom. And then they would have had the stone standing up right there next to this. And you can see the holes up at the top and the bottom. And it would have probably held like a lintel or something. So it's hard to see in there. They got this plexiglass over the top of it. But those are the original stone carvings right down below there. And they're at the base of the entrances. So they are trying to preserve them. So we can see the windows. They are the sandstone. They cut the bottom there at a 45-degree angle. You can see that. And then they notched them to hold them together. And they would have done it up here also. And then they placed all the stones around, carved every little square inch. And then these here, these are like octagonal. A little bit different style than what you see in the later temples. Okay, so let's go in here now. So this is the inner sanctuary. So this is what we see. So you got the Gopura. You can see the pediments there, and that wall is kind of settled. And then they have like a little bit of a body of water in here. And it's kind of cool. They got some steps that go down made out of the laterite stones. So they would have done their ceremonies where they would have came and they would have went down in the water doing something. And then check out that tree that's kind of overtaken over there. So they had the outer part of the little pond with the naga. You can see the 5-headed naga on the corner over there. And then how cool is this? It would have came right up here to this little archway. And then you have a pediment that's just freestanding right here. And then you would have went underneath it. You see they have the little steps carved into it. Oh, that's the detail. And it is so low. My head is right here. So you got to squat down to get in. And then you can see they have it all lined with the laterite stone. And it's quite empty right now. Last time I came over, there was quite a bit of water in it. And they would have came and done their ceremonies. And there's the entrances over there, and then another Gopura. So let's go into the inner sanctuary now. You can see the windows here with those little stones. And then they have those pediments and more of the laterite stones and the sandstone, and everything is carved. And they even carved these laterites into the shape that they wanted. Oh, this would have just been amazing whenever if you'd have been able to see it whenever it was new. And they have a hole here. Maybe they would have put like a lantern or something like that in these holes. You can see it here. They got a lintel up above. That's the Hindu version of the Ruku, the monster that eats the sun and the moon. Rivo or something like that is what they called it in Khmer. And we got us a dog running around. She's got some puppies somewhere. Okay, so let's go up in here. These are kind of some small little narrow steps. You can see all the details. So they have the figure carved right there. And then those are kind of octagon. And somebody came over and scratched some graffiti in for whatever reason. That really is annoying. They carve their name in it and they will never ever come back. So you see how they've shaped every one of these stones. It just fits like a giant puzzle. And this would have been covered also with little stone roof tiles. And then we'll go down. So there's some more stairs to go down. And then there was a prong right there that has collapsed down. And then the 4 smaller ones around, which is a cool style. You don't see this style normally. Normally they're at the 4 cardinal directions, and then they will have the center one. Those are kind of back. And then they have 2 little shrines here. So they got one here, and then one over here for the balance. And then they had the laterite stones and the brick, and then the sandstone. And then we have another gopura over there. Okay, so this wasn't a shrine, this was a library. Now you can see how they cut the sandstone right there. So not only was it cut at a 45-degree angle, but then they cut it around at 90s and kind of made it to where it just interlocked to keep it from falling off. Yeah, they were pretty creative in how they cut all of these stones. I mean, this is 11th century, so this is 1,000 years old, and the majority of it is still standing. And then this one's another small little library. So this is the main tower. And it would have been made out of brick. You can see the laterite stones are still here. Now they think that this was dedicated originally to Shiva. They found lintels and then they found like the linga in it also. And then you can see up here. So you can't go up in there, that says do not climb. There would have been the Shiva linga right there in the middle of it. And then they have these. Oh, that's cool with the styling right there. Yeah, really, really nice. And then this is one of the smaller ones. So you can see they have a lintel right there. That's been restored, it looks like. And then the styling in the bricks. And then it's all the laterite down here. And then there's the base for one of the Shiva linga stones. And it's, you can see how tall it is inside. Yeah, really nice. And then you can see how these are like the octagons, and they carved floral patterns into all of it. And then you have, I think that's Vishnu up there. Yeah, really nice. Okay, so that's not Vishnu, that's Shiva riding the ox. This right here would have been the top of the prong. This would have been shaped like a lotus bud. You can see that even the very top is missing. So those came from one of these 5 towers way up there. So they have the 3 faux entrances on the west, south, and north, and only the east is open. You can see how they carved the laterite here, and then they did the brick patterns. I really like how they kind of bow out up at the top, kind of like a lotus bud pattern. It's a pretty common style that you see from this era. It's just unbelievable. The skill that the brick workers had was amazing. And over there, there's 2 more of the tops, it looks like. And one more look here around the inner courtyard. So you can see 3 of the towers, and then the 4th one is over there. Now, how cool would it have been if that tall center one was still in existence? And I don't know how tall it was. I don't think they know. They probably could estimate from the amount of rubble, but it's hard to say. There might have been people that hauled bricks off also. So over here would have been a gallery, and it would have been brick and sandstone, and it would have been covered, and it goes all around. Just to give you an idea of the state. Look at those stairs. It's not handicap accessible, that's for sure. So that's the gallery. They have it bricked off to where you can't go down there. And then the low windows. You can see they would have had the notches right there for those little stones, the colonnade. You can see the outer wall here. And those steps were quite a challenge. You can still see the lintel up there. And they have all of this back here for the pond with the naga and those little freestanding pediments. And it looks like they've cut a tree down, but check that out with the lilies in there. Yeah, it's mid-afternoon. It would have been kind of cool to see this all bloomed out early in the morning. You can see how weathered this is. So they had a naga there, and that's just way, way weathered. And then you would have climbed right down there and went and did the aquatic ceremony. And then one more gopura over here. And they had a little trench dug. Maybe this was put in later for maybe to get rainwater to go out. You see they do have the faux window right there. So it's always amazing that they went to all that trouble to build a window and then they block it off. But that was their styling. That's what they did. You see some more of the stairs here and all these laterite stones. So it is just gigantic. So let's take a look just to give you an idea about how big this wall is. So you can see it is just absolutely massive. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 stones to right here, 5, 6 stones, and then they would have put a peak on the very top of it. So they would have built scaffolding here, and they would have lifted all those stones up, and then a guy would have carved them. Just absolutely amazing. And that's just the outer wall. So I came all the way over in the corner, and let's take one last look here. So there's the pond, there's the 4 existing towers, the inner sanctuary, and then it has this nice courtyard that's probably like 20 meters wide. I don't know exactly how wide it is, but this whole building is 120 by 126 meters, the outer wall. Just absolutely massive. And you can see the pediments up there above the gopura. And then just look at this wall, and it's all carved. This is really, really cool. Let's go up in here. We'll look at this last little gopura. This is the entrance on the west side. And it's in the crucifix design that you normally see. Yeah, it's just fantastic. And you can see all the little details where they carved in the stones, where they had pieces that are no longer here, like right over here. There would have been those columns right next to there. Then there would have been a pediment and a lintel up here. Just all the normal stuff. And then this just goes right out on the west side over here. And you can see how close we are to houses. So right over there is the edge of the ruin, and houses right on the other side. Now you can see rubble over there, some of the bricks. Really nice. They have a little park out here so you can walk and kind of relax. And then over there cutting grass. And you can see some of those images. That's going to finish up our video over here at this Prasat Muang Tam, which means the lower city. Now that was not the original name. It had another name, but I don't know what it is. They just named it this because it is the lower city from the big volcanic peak, the Phnom Rung up on the hill. So those two were joined. So people would come here, probably like pilgrims would come here, they would do things, and then they would make the trek up to the top of the volcano, which is like 430 meters up. It's quite steep. It would be an experience to climb up there back in the day. It was bad enough driving a car or my motorcycle up there. It was windy and really steep. So I couldn't even imagine climbing up there in this heat and then doing all your ceremonies and then coming back down. But it was important to them. It was a pilgrimage. So just amazing. And that doesn't even count the construction of it. They would have had to take these bricks up to the top of that hill. They would have, same here, they would have had to cut them somewhere. They would have brought them in here. Then they would have did all the detail work to finish up this temple. The amount of work that goes into these is just mind-boggling. We can't even imagine it. It'd be hard enough to do it with modern equipment, but they did it all with manual tools and beasts of burden like elephants. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and leave me a comment, tell me what you think. And I will pin a comment to the Prasat Phanom Rung the other temple that's kind of right here, part of the historical park. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's worth your time to come over. So until next time, from over here in Buriram, remember, life is a journey. Until next time, enjoy.